Today I wanted to talk about making my younger self smile again, or just proud again. I haven't made a YouTube video since 11 years ago, and I was 13. I'm now 23. So it's crazy, it's wild. But I was just thinking about this idea of when I was younger, young me only had an iPad and a terrible laptop, and I made it work. I jailbroke my iPad. I did all these things just so I could record my screen, and even though I had barely nothing, I did believe like I could be as big as Syndicate, I could be as big as KSI, PewDiePie. Like I don't know, I just believed these things despite having nothing. And I kind of like that I had that childlike faith, I had that child like curiosity and fantasy. It's something that I miss, and it's something that I'm trying to get back, because I'm looking at myself now, 23, 10 years later. Wow, this is weird. 10 years later, I have a gaming PC that young me would die for. I have everything. I have a mic. I have everything I need already. I feel like if I went back in time, he would look at me and be like, why are you not doing what we love? And I would tell him, a lot of things happened. A lot. Such as quitting YouTube. So quitting YouTube was interesting. I was in high school, and in high school, people are not that nice at the time. It was fun having a YouTube channel. People would always come up to me and be like, oh wow, you're the kid that does YouTube, I watch your videos, da 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 da. And then slowly, as I was growing older, it turned from that to like, oh, you're weird, or you're gay, or you're this for making YouTube. And I didn't really care. But then people started playing my YouTube videos on in class, and that really like messed me up. People were, like when you, at the end of the day, where everyone's kind of done with the lesson, and you could like put YouTube on the projectors. Normally you'd put music, but one day this kid I knew, who was actually my best friend at the time, he was like, oh, let's watch Johan's YouTube videos. But he didn't say it in a way of like, he didn't say it to say like, oh, we actually want to watch it. It was to make fun of it. And I realized that everyone was just making fun of my YouTube videos, and I didn't mind when I wasn't there, but when I was there and I was seeing people make fun of me, I think it just broke me as a kid. It just broke my spirit. I was the only black kid in the school full of white people, so I felt that I wanted to fit in somehow, and if YouTube is making me such an outlier where people are just taking the piss out of me, I'd rather just not do anything. And I think that insecurity kind of stayed with me for a while. I don't blame anyone. Everyone's kids, There are kids out there who probably went through the same thing, but they kept going, and look at them now. So I think it's just a lesson, a lesson learned, Oh, we found the ship. Let's go. But yeah, I think as a kid, I was like, wow, I think I lived. There's a film that I'm watching called The Mexican, or yeah, something like The Mexican. I'll put it up on screen. And there was a quote, and in the quote he says like, he lives as though the iron is always hot. And I think that literally describes young me so well. I lived as though the iron was always hot, and up until maybe last year, I kept living that way. It's scary how trauma from childhood really does follow you so long and can go unchecked, but that's just how I was living. Yeah, I lived as if the iron was always hot. I was always on edge, and I think I was always trying to please, but at the same time, I understood that the only way for me to express myself was through creativity. But people were making fun of that creativity. So then what do I do? And I think that's when you fall into like a depression, a depressive state. I'm only 23, I'm still young, but I feel like a part of deconstructing that is making young me proud again. I feel like if he was to see what I'm doing right now, this minute, the smile that he would have, well, it'd be crazy. So, oh, we found the chest. Let's go. What did we get? Wow. And I just think recently I was like, okay, I have everything in front of me, and I think I should just do things again. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like I was doing things in the idea that I need to gain success from it, or I need to gain views from it. But now I'm just like, no, I can just do things because I find it fun. I always talk to myself. To this day, every time I play games, I'm sure a lot of you guys can probably understand where I'm coming from. every time I play games, I'm constantly commentating in my head, or even just out loud as if like I'm recording. That just never left me since I was a kid, and it's like, maybe I should just record myself playing games sometimes and having these, inner conversations which sometimes slip out. I don't think that's bad. I think it's something that's good, and I think now I'm a bit older, I realize that it doesn't matter about views or who sees it, who doesn't. As long as you do it, that's all that matters. There's no point wasting time on parameters that are not even set yet. Like, who cares? Just do it. There's no such thing as failure, especially when it's something creative, which is the one thing that I've been learning, because I'm a filmmaker. So I'm learning that there is no such thing as failure. There is. It's impossible. Like, everything is just a lesson, and I think that's the beautiful thing about creativity, is understanding that failure is not even an option because it's not even a real thing. One thing I do find so interesting, that really as a kid, the less I had, the more I did, and I think that's not really taught. Like, you don't really. I think that those are just things you have to experience. That it's a weird phenomenon. Like, really, yeah, the less I had as a kid, the less rules. I had more rules I had to abide to. You're under your parents' household at this point, so it's very strict. I think one thing which is kind of like, it's not taught, but you have to experience. But I feel like it should be taught, is that sometimes the less you have, the more you do. And I feel I just can't get over the fact that even though I was so restricted as a kid, I still tried my utmost hardest to achieve my dreams, and I still like jailbroken my iPad and like trying to find all these ways to build a following and build a YouTube, and being so relentless, and I had nothing to like prove. It was pure delusion. But I don't know, it's crazy how the less I had, the more I did. If I just put that much strength and there's no bed, but I see a bed here to sleep. The idea of if I just put that much effort with the more I have now, like, imagine how far I'd get. So I'm gonna have to take the bed. I apologize. I really haven't played in a long time because I haven't. Whoa. I didn't know you could do that. First. Alright, I think I need to build a house. That's how we end this episode, just building a small house. I think the reasons why I did YouTube as a kid was because I was afraid to. I was the only child, so I think I was afraid to be alone. I really yearned for like an older brother or even just an older sister. And I think, I don't know, something about YouTube or just recording myself felt like I had an older brother. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if that's even the real reason, but I hated the idea of experiencing life alone. I really didn't want to do that. I wanted to experience life with people. I think even to this day, I can see traits in me. Like, to this day, I really love the idea of like a public diaries, which is kind of what this is now, like a public diary where I'm just saying my thoughts and people randomly can just stumble across it. I've always liked that idea. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a response to something, but yeah, I've always wanted to do it. Like, whether it's in the cinemas when I'm watching a film, I always want to experience that with somebody. There's never a time where like I really want to be alone. I think for a while I thought I wanted to be alone until I met someone, and then you realize, oh damn, I don't know if this is what I want. But I do think it's interesting. Why do I always want to have like a public diary? I always want people to know what's going on in my life. Not even in a narcissistic way. It's just in a way of like, I just don't want to experience this life alone at all. Like, at all. And younger me was that. Like, he didn't want to experience it at all. I used to make vlogs of a 12-year-old. Like, that's not interesting, but I just set up a camera and just speak and be like, hey, I had nothing valuable to say. I just wanted to speak to someone. That's what it is. I think that's what it is. I wanted to speak to someone. I think I just wasn't understood at all. As a kid, I grew up in an all, like, I went to a good school. I went to an all, and it was all white. And since I was the only black kid, I think there was just a lot of, not being able to fit in. And yeah, I needed someone to speak to. I didn't think anybody got me, because I think if I spoke to kids that looked like me, whenever that was, like in church or whatever, I was definitely like seen as an outlier. Elle says this really cringy line, where he says he's too white for the too white for the black kids and too black for the white kids. And I know it's very cringy and there's a lot of implications to that, but young me hearing things like that is like exactly how I felt. Like I just didn't have an outsource, or I don't know, I needed something. I needed someone to speak to, I needed someone to relate to, I needed someone to understand me. And I didn't really have that. So YouTube, making music, filmmaking, all these things, that's what that was for me. And that's why I want to be a filmmaker now. I need to stop saying I want to be and saying that I am. Because I asked someone recently, oh, you want to be a filmmaker? And he was like, no, I am a filmmaker. I was like, yeah, it's my bad. So I think that's why I am a filmmaker. Because I think I've always viewed life or success from other people. I never really felt like I had success. I was always viewing success from other people and documenting their success. And I think there's a voyeuristic nature in me that wants to continue that. That likes to view other people's success or other people's demise to learn from. I think that's why I'm so interested in stories. I feel like that's why I really like Mighty Supreme as well, is that I can relate to it. The idea of chasing greatness. And also, I just love the character study of this is a guy who, he's terrible, really, but like he's trying, and like you get to see him try and you get to criticize his efforts. Films like that and Taxi Driver, they mean so much to me because I feel like that's how my life has always been. I've always been looking at other people's lives and like jotting it down in a notebook or writing stories about it. I've never been the one to experience it. I think that's why I'm also hungry for greatness, and I don't think it's in an ego sense. I think it's just, I don't know, I think it's just a fear of missing out. Like when's my story starting? I've been looking at everyone else's story and I've been documenting everyone else's story and I've been celebrating and trying to be there for everybody, and then like, yeah, when's my story happening? I think that's where my love for film and all these things comes from. You know, music and YouTube are more like diary entries. This music is so fitting, sorry, but music and YouTube are more like diary entries. Film is more like I don't know, showing the world what I've learned. It's very hard to put into words why you do the creative things you do. It's kind of like when you find the love of your life and someone asks you, why do you love them? It's very hard to be like, this is why I love them, because I don't think words can really explain why you love them. You just do. And it's something deep, and it's something that you can only express in a feeling rather than words. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at now, is that why I do all these things. Sometimes it's I'm waffling now, but hey, get used to it. But yeah. It's really fitting that it is Minecraft that is, you know, what I've came back to play. Minecraft really has saved my childhood. What is that? I've actually never seen that before. Oh, I'll go check it in a minute. But I think, yeah, Minecraft has really saved my childhood. The music as well, gosh, like, damn, the music has always been just incredible. This is a random story, but there's a time when I first went to uni. My first uni experience was terrible, but I think I can talk about that in another video. But when I first went to uni, at the time I was just feeling very, very down and depressed and not really knowing what I want to do, because, you know, I want to be creative, but I also understand that, like, social pressures, my family, like, it's not, you know, they want you to have a degree, they want you to do this. So I tried to do the degree, I tried to do those things, and it just made me really depressed. I remember I was sitting in my room with nothing to do, and I was really sad, and I slapped on some Minecraft music, and it really did help. And I think it is, again, like, I don't know, the answers are in your childhood. It's like The Alchemist. I don't know if you ever read the book The Alchemist, and it's such a good story because it's the idea of your treasure will always be at home, and you can interpret that in many ways. But I think for me, it's like, you know, what you always wanted to be was, you'll find out when you're a child. Like, if you just go back and listen to that child self and give him a chance, you'll hear it and you'll be like, oh damn, this is what young me wanted to be. You know, young me watched films every day, films that I shouldn't have even watched, and it makes sense by now, like 10 years later. I want to be I am a filmmaker. I'm learning. I am a filmmaker because that's what young me wanted to be. He wanted to do that. He found so much joy in this art form. He didn't know he could do it, but he found so much joy in it. And then the rest of your life mimicked films as if you were watching as a spectator. You never felt this. So I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's always just looking back at your younger self. You always want to find purpose. It's a lot easier when I guess you have religion, because, you know, I grew up in a Christian background. So for me, it's, you know, serving others and you're serving God, I guess. It's a lot easier then, but I guess if you're struggling and you don't have that kind of shelter, I always say, you know, your purpose is always in your childhood, man. I can't overestimate the amount of people I've met where I'm talking to them and they're like, yeah, as a kid I used to do this, as a kid I used to draw, as a kid I used to sing a lot, and it's like, why did you stop? And it's always the same thing, oh, it wasn't realistic. And it's like, but that's why you feel like you don't have purpose now. Because what you want to do, you think is too unrealistic instead of like giving it an effort, you know? And it's kind of sad. But the answer's always been there. This is the worst house ever. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's just make a door. And I think we'll call it a day. Because, yeah. Get a door, get a bed, call it a day. Crap. I'm gonna break here. Boom, 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 boom. Let me get a chest real quick. Oh, we already have one. You know what? A double's better. Two's better than one. And put all this in. Oh, we have iron tools. Actually, I'm tripping. I haven't played this in too long. Like, what the heck? Oh my gosh. Oh, what the hell? I didn't mean that. I deserve it. But yeah. Do everything with intention, guys. So that's very important. Doing everything with intention. But yeah, so I speak to so many people, and it's like they know the answer of what they want to do, but they're just too scared. And you know, society tells them that, you know, these are just things you want as a child, but they're not, you know, long lasting, I guess. But I don't know. I just have so many conversations with people, and I always ask them like, okay, what did you want to be as a child? They have this crazy long story, and then they just gave up on it. I'm like, well, maybe that's your purpose, you know? Maybe that is it. What the heck is this? A brown egg. Okay. Alright, I need a bed. So, oh, I'm gonna steal this. And I'm gonna steal a bed from one of you guys. Sorry. Sorry.
Huh?
My bad, bro. My bad, bro. My bad. I think I'm done for tonight. Yeah, I think next video I'll just get glass, stone. Yeah, talk about a new topic. Adios.